Good afternoon. This is Debbie at Carolina Cruisin', and I hope that you are all doing awesome today. And it is March 16th, and if you live in the Carolina area, you know that the weather is getting splendid, splendid for riding. So I love this time of year. It's just a beautiful time of year. So I will say right now I'm actually in Florida. So I'm not in North Carolina, although I'm looking forward to getting home. I'm in South Florida on the West Coast visiting my mom. Wanted to be here for her birthday. And I've been here about 2 weeks, so I'll be going home soon. But the weather here is really beautiful. It's been mostly 80s. We've had some cool nights, down in the upper 50s and the low 60s, which of course is cold for Florida. But I am looking forward to getting back to North Carolina and getting on my bike and taking some nice spring rides. But and hopefully some of you are already taking advantage of that and doing that. So if you're doing that, enjoy and be safe. So I didn't plan on recording a video today to post to my page. I'm not really video ready completely, and that's okay, because sometimes getting a message out is more important than what I look like while I'm doing it. So I just feel very called this morning to create this message. And there's somebody out there who needs this, and maybe there's more than one of you who needs to hear this. But whoever needs this, I hope this finds its way to you. So of course, it's the beginning of the season. And with the beginning of the riding season, of course, I am, coming out of my winter hibernation as a motorcycle coach, and starting to get my business, back in motion and make trainings available and, get it out there as to what I've got available and when. And I've done some of that, and I continue to do that. And so as things are starting to pick up some momentum, of course, I'm hearing from a lot of you. And as I do each year, the majority of the women that I hear from are new riders. And I love that I can serve both experienced riders, and I love that I can help new women riders, and it's all wonderful. But I definitely hear a lot from women riders who are just starting out. And what I've already heard a lot of, and I hear this every season. Okay, so this is not a new message that I have heard. And every time I hear it, though, it breaks my heart a little bit. So the message that I hear from women is, so of course I get the woman rider who has never ridden and wants to take, a couple of hours of a private lesson with me because they're planning on taking the basic rider course with the Motorcycle Safety Foundation. And they kind of want to get in, a little bit of experience before they go. And I'm always, happy to help in that respect. And I do often. But the other woman rider that I work with a lot is the woman rider who went and took the basic rider course. And one of two things happened. They either were asked to leave the class or they didn't pass the skills test at the end. So for the woman who was asked to leave the class before it ended, I am sorry that happened to you. That should not be happening. Unfortunately, it does happen because the basic rider course is supposed to be a course that teaches you how to ride. It is geared towards the brand new rider who has no experience on a motorcycle whatsoever. But unfortunately, that is not the majority of the people who take the class. Often you have, men who show up, and that class is male dominated for the most part. Maybe you have 2, maybe 3 women, tops out of 10 to 12 students, but it is a very male dominated class. And often those men either grew up riding dirt bikes or rode motorcycles when they were kids and are getting back into it after a long hiatus. Or I actually know some guys that I ride with who rode illegally for years and years and years and got permits and never took the steps to make it official. And now for whatever reason, they've decided they need to make their expired permit into a legal endorsement. And so this is mainly who shows up to the class. And And then what happens is the class winds up moving at a little bit faster pace because those individuals are obviously much more fluent in motorcycle riding. And so those of you who show up to the class legitimately brand new riders who don't have any experience or very little experience kind of get overlooked. And you don't get one-on-one attention. It would be impossible to with a class of 10 to 12 people and normally 2 trainers. And then you're given like, I think it's 3 opportunities to practice. And, when those instructors see somebody starting to fall back a little bit and not being as successful during those practices as they should, or if you drop the bike one too many times, from my understanding, they ask you to leave and they ask you to go get more practice and come back. And that's the situation that really, really breaks my heart, because that leaves that woman rider thinking that she's not good enough, she wasn't enough, that she's a failure, that there's something wrong with her because she wasn't able to do it. And I hear that story way too many times. And I'm thankful for the woman who has had that experience, who finds me, because last year and the year before, I worked with many, many women who had been in that situation, and they came to me feeling very down on themselves and very low and very insecure. And I think initially, like when I would hear that story, I would even think, well, I wonder what kind of rider this woman is going to be, and and I would even be nervous about it myself. But the experiences that I have had with this woman rider is that there's nothing wrong with her abilities, and there is nothing wrong with her riding. Every single woman who I have heard that story from, who has come to me to help them, has been successful in my class. And I've heard from many of them that they go back to the basic rider course and they pass it with no problems. I have had 1 or 2 women who didn't get asked to leave the second time, but they still didn't pass the skills test. But they at least didn't get asked to leave. And I know those women feel down on themselves as well. And I'm here to tell you that you should not. So for the woman now who took the class and didn't pass the skills test, same message goes for you. That is not failure. And, that is a word that I find really destructive in life, is the word failure. I don't believe that word even exists, because I think that the only real true failure is when you really want to accomplish something and you let the words and the judgments of other people get into your head and eat away at your own self-confidence. And then you give up and you say, I can't do it. And to me, that's the only failure. Now, I do want to say, if that is somebody's decision, I respect that, because you have to know for yourself what's right for you and what's not. But if you are somebody who feels that way because you have let the thoughts, opinions, and judgments of other people get into your head and eat away at your self-confidence and your belief in yourself, then I am here to tell you that you don't need to let that happen. Because if you really want to ride, and you have had that experience where you have either been asked to leave or that you have not passed the skills test, you can do this. And whether it's with me or you find somebody else to work with, that doesn't matter to me. I just want you to know that you can do this, that you have not failed. And already it's so early in the season, it's only March. And already I have heard from 4, just in the last 3 weeks, I have heard from 4 women who have come to me who have said, hey, I really would like to take advantage of your private lessons because, and they tell me their story, which is one of those 2 scenarios. And that really makes my heart break for them. And, inevitably, the message that they convey is, I'm not really sure I can do this. I'm not sure that this is right for me. Maybe I can't do this. Maybe I'm not meant to ride. All these things that they just get down on themselves for. But I am here to tell you that motorcycling is, 10% work and it's 90% mental. Anytime you're learning something new, you have to first suck at it. There's nothing wrong with sucking at something that you are new at. I really want to drive that point home. Now, I know a lot of you don't know a lot about me, but I'm going to share a little bit about myself right now to give you some credibility as to why I have these beliefs very strongly, that failure is an illusion, and that just because you didn't succeed at something the first time doesn't mean you're not good at it or will be good at it. So as you know, I run Carolina Cruising Motorcycle Coaching. But for my day profession, a career that I have been in, in the corporate world for over almost 25 years, it couldn't be that long because I'm not that old, right? So it couldn't possibly be 25 years. But sadly, it is. I've been in the corporate world almost 25 years. About 17 or 18 of those 25 years, I have spent as a learning design and development professional, which basically means that I design learning for the corporate world. Now, most of my learning design has been done in e-learning. So I also, I used to be a programmer much, much, much earlier, millions and millions of years ago. And that's how I started my career as a computer programmer. And I kind of segued into the world of developing e-learning training. But I evolved from that into really a learning professional. And as a learning professional, I have learned a great deal, and I have a great deal of knowledge on how people learn. I have learned a great deal of knowledge on how to chunk down information into what we call digestible chunks so that people can learn it and really digest it well. Because, just because somebody's training you at the basic rider course doesn't really mean they really even know how to train people. So again, you've got to look at the people that you're working with. And they are trained to be trainers, but it's one thing to learn about how to motorcycle safety and motorcycle training, but how much knowledge are they getting in actually how to break down training and explain it the right way? And sometimes, because people learn differently, there's different learning styles. If I'm working with somebody and I say something to somebody and they don't understand it, I take the responsibility on myself. I don't put the responsibility on that student and say, what's wrong with you? Why don't you understand this? And I have seen that be done to people where it's like, hey, I'm saying this, I'm clear as day, and you're not getting it. There's something wrong with you. That is not how I work because I have the knowledge of a learning professional. I understand cognitive sciences and how the brain works. I understand, just comprehension levels, and that people, different people comprehend things differently. And so if I say something and you don't understand it, I'm going to take the responsibility. I'm going to own that. And I'm going to change the way that I'm saying what I'm saying until it resonates for you. So that's the first part of being a good trainer, is learning how to speak to the person that you're working with. Okay, because communication is not always a one size fits all. But then there's patience. And I understand that, a lot of times in these classes, if you're not getting it right, the instructor can lose patience with you. And that right there is enough to just make you feel horrible about yourself. Like you're not enough. Like, what's wrong with me? Why am I not getting this? And maybe he's not teaching it well. Maybe he's not communicating it well. So that never enters into our mind. We always own it and we always make ourselves feel bad about it. But you don't need to feel bad about it because, again, I'm going to go back to what I was saying before, is that it's when you're new, you have to suck at something. And so being a learning design and development person in the corporate world who designs training, who knows and understands how people learn and retain and how to break down information to make it as most understandable and digestible is really, really key when you are teaching people something. And so one of the other things that I know is that when I'm designing a training for somebody or some kind of training, whether it's human performance improvement or it's a soft skill like communication, or I'm teaching them, something specific about their job, how to perform their job, failure is not only okay, but in learning, a lot of people don't realize this. In learning, failure is necessary because, first of all, failure allows you the opportunity to reflect and to look at yourself and see what didn't go well, and to look and see where are the areas that I still need to improve on. So it kind of gives us that self-awareness of what did we do right and what did we do wrong. And doing something wrong is not a problem. But what that is that's just a message to us that, hey, this is an area where I'm having a little bit of trouble that I need to put a little bit extra hard work into. Because learning anything is hard work. I don't care what it is. And riding a motorcycle is not an easy task. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot to remember. It's something new. And you're not familiar with it. And you're taking in a lot of information all at one time. So to me, failure is actually a very helpful thing. because that actually allows you to become better and better and better. So if you can see failure as a way towards greater growth and achievement, instead of seeing failure as I suck and there's something wrong with me and maybe I shouldn't do this and I'm not going to do this and I'm going to give up, then if you can kind of turn that around and really utilize failure as a stepping stone, I can't imagine people achieving any greater success in life than with that attitude. Because that is the attitude you need to have in life in order to succeed. And just because someone says you suck at something, well, who is that person? And don't give that person so much power. If somebody says something negative to me, and of course, yes, I'm human, so sometimes things hurt, but then I have to reframe and say to myself, who is that person? They don't walk in my shoes every day. They don't see my life from my perspective. They don't know everything there is to know about me and my situation. So they are making a judgment based off of a lot of assumptions and very little information and input. And why am I giving away my power to them to allow them to affect me emotionally and to affect me on what I think I can and can't achieve? So again, I had 4 women in the last 3 weeks who came to me with this message that they weren't good enough and they weren't sure they should do this, but they wanted to try again. And they just have all these insecurities and they're scared and they just think they're not good enough. But I'm here to tell you, you are good enough. And learning something new is hard. And I sometimes think that we aren't even ever really get all that good unless we allow ourselves to fail and look at where we need to strengthen and then work on those areas and keep trying. So there's nothing wrong with you. You're not a failure. You can do this. So please, please don't allow that to affect your confidence or your self-esteem or your drive and motivation to want to be successful in motorcycling or anything else for that matter. Because I am talking about motorcycles, but actually this can be applied to anything in your life. It could be applied to every situation where you're learning something new, in every situation where maybe somebody is talking derogatively to you, which is very powerful because I've had it happen a lot. But I honestly tell you that it does not bring any benefit to your life. It does not add value for you to listen to other people and allow yourself to change your opinion on yourself and for it to affect your confidence. So please, I really hope that if you're listening to this, you really hear this and speak positive thoughts and words into your life and saying, I can do this. It may take me a little more time, but I can do this. And I don't care if your friend Susie, went to the class and she passed it and now she's on her bike, a month later and she's, going up to the mountains, and I don't care about that person because everybody is different. Okay. So that they're not you. They learn differently than you. They have learned different skills and abilities. So just remember that comparison is the thief of joy, because it doesn't matter what somebody else is doing. You are you, and you are an individual, and it's okay to be you. And if you take a little longer than somebody else, that doesn't make you less than. So just remember that. So, all right, well, I'm going to end this because I think I've lectured enough, but I just really wanted to put that message out there today because it just breaks my heart when I hear those stories of somebody who thinks they can't succeed because somebody made them feel less than. So anyway, if you want to learn, or if you already ride and you want to learn better, I'm available for private lessons. I've got lots of group trainings that are coming up. So reach out to me. Even if you just need a pep talk, I'll be your cheerleader. So reach out to me. You know how to get me. You can message me through my website, which is www.carolanacruisenmc.com. You can message me through my Carolina Cruisin' Facebook page, or you can call me. My number is also on the Carolina Facebook page, Carolina Cruisin' Facebook page. So reach out to me, okay? Again, like I said, even if you just need a pep talk, I will be there for you. I will cheer you back up. All right, well, I hope you all have a great day. Enjoy this beautiful day and be grateful for everything and everyone in your life. And you all take care. I'll see you next time.